Sometimes the greatest victories in marriage don't happen when life is easy. They happen when life tests everything you believe. Today, you'll hear a story of faith, commitment, and choosing each other through one of life's greatest challenges. Welcome to the Stronger, Deeper Marriage Show, where we believe stronger marriages are built through real conversations. I'm Lucille Reddick, a harmony expert. I help couples create marriages filled with peace, purpose, and passion. For after more than 41 years of marriage, I've learned that the healthy marriages don't just happen by accident. They're built through intentional communication, mutual respect, and choosing each other every single day. That's why this show exists to bring you practical wisdom and inspiring conversation that will help couples build stronger marriages. And I'm joined by my wonderful co host, Patti Hall.
Hello, everybody, and welcome, Dr. David Martin. I am Patti Hall, the wellness warrior. After 39 years of marriage, I know strong relationships require love, grace, communication, and the daily commitment to care for ourselves and keep growing together. I'm so excited about today's conversation because healthy relationships begin with healthy people, and today's guest has a powerful story of faith, resilience, and hope.
Thank you, Patti.
You're
So today's,
welcome.
oh, I'm sorry.
I just said you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So today we're joined by Dr. David Martin. Dr. Martin is a professional speaker, an author, and a doctor of theology who helps students, families, and communities make better decisions and achieve lasting success. He's the founder of Martin's Empowerment Group and the Good Ground Empowerment Foundation has inspired audiences across Texas through his message of personal transformation, leadership, and discovering the seed of greatness within. David has been married to his wife Precious for 9 years. Together, they've learned how to build a marriage that thrives through intentionality, teamwork, unwavering faith, and choosing each other through every season. David, welcome to the show.
Thank
Welcome to
you
the
for
show.
having me. Thank you so much. I'm excited about today.
Well, good. Hey, did I say everything that needed to be said? Is there anything you want to say about yourself before I jump in?
You know what? I believe you hit it on the button with that,
All
and it'd be funny
right.
because sometimes I'm listening and I'll be like, man, God is good. Like I did that. Like, you know what I mean? But we all know it's only by the grace of God.
Absolutely, absolutely. I must
Absolutely.
be doing good because you did. I think you the second or third one that said, "Is that me?" So I'm gonna start with this little marriage snapshot, and this is just a 2 to 3 minute little quick answers before we delve into the real conversation. What's one word that describes your marriage today?
I would say growth.
Okay, and why did you choose that word?
Because I truly like I've seen the growth in myself and also my wife throughout marriage, because whenever the Bible describes it as, it's two people becoming one, I believe that so much growth has to take place in you personally in order to keep that marriage together. Because we done seen some hard times in our marriage and it took growth. It's like, okay, I might not I might did back in the day, I didn't forgive people for that. You know what I mean? But in my marriage, I'm a forgive, or
Mhm.
or back in the day, I'm doing it my way. I don't care what nobody say, and but me and my wife, we have to choose to, okay, this time, she got to do it how David said. This time I'm gonna do it how Precious say it. Where it's not just it always got to be like our decision every time. So I would say growth for sure.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. No, my way or the highway type of thing going on now.
Right. That's not a healthy marriage, I'm telling you.
All right, then,
Working
in the last of this little snapshot, what's one lesson marriage has taught you?
That it get hard at times. Like,
Mhm.
in a way, it's like, I don't know if it's TV or what it is, but sometimes whenever you look at marriage, you believe, like, once you get married, that it's off to the sunset. It's nothing but peaches and cream and butterflies and flowers. But it been like some difficult times in our marriage,
Mhm.
as in, like, just those hard conversations, just unexpected things that come up. You got children, you're running your business, you got ministry, you got all these things going apart. And then, you still have to make sure that you're making time, for your spouse. So I would say that, whenever they say through, for better or worse, like, it's real. And I believe that we got to talk about these type of things for people that's not married, to let them know that, that person that you choose for marriage, you chose them for a reason. But you might go through some hard times, but y'all could get through it. You know what I mean?
That's the
Yes.
part right there. Is y'all can get
Yes, you
through it.
get through
Yeah.
it. Yes.
And we're not talking about any abuse or anything like that, y'all.
No, 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 not that.
So
Just
calm down.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not abuse. We ain't saying that. But, I'm gonna say, like, disagreements that you may
Yes,
have in
yes,
marriage.
yes. And the person not doing what you think they should do, the way you think they
Right,
should do it. Maybe that's just me.
right. Come on.
It's not just you.
Well, thank you so much for that, David. Well, I'm gonna
Yes.
start off with the first question that I have for you. You and Precious are complete opposites from what I
Yeah.
read on the questionnaire.
Yes.
Why does that work so well?
I believe I'm gonna talk about me, like why it worked for me, because my wife balanced me out. Because I'm more of a spur of the moment type person. If you give me an idea, man, I'm probably gonna go do it. Like, as long as it's lining up morally, it's nothing illegal or something like that, man, I'm going out and try it. But my wife is more into details, like asking the questions and you know stuff that I would never think to ask, but it be important questions that I'd be like, man, I should ask this, and like me, I'll go to the event and just go talk to everybody. Like, I'm running around the room just talking. So my wife balanced me out where, I can't just leave her in a room and I'm just going to run around and talk to everyone. So it just, I believe she balanced me out, because I'm just a live wire. I like to describe myself as, and she's more calm. Like I said, she's more into details. So I believe she helps out our family where I'm not going out spending some money on some stuff because I'm just gonna try this out. And she'd be like, wait up, let's do the research first before you go buy this house. You know what I mean? So
Right.
she balanced me out for sure.
So let me ask you this, because me and my husband, we're opposites too.
Yeah.
He would spend all the money and I wouldn't spend no money.
Right.
So
Right.
it kind of loosens me up where I can spend a little bit more than what I would normally. And
Right.
I help him tighten up. Even though he be kicking and screaming the whole time. I'm like, tighten up now. But
Yeah.
did you all I see that now in hindsight as a plus. But at the
Mhm.
beginning, I did not like it. So have you always felt that way about the opposite things? They're balancing you out, or was there a time where you thought she need to be more like me?
Of course, like, because, like, I would say it in a sense of, okay, like me, public speaking. I'm speaking in schools, prisons. Hey, whoever say, hey, David, can you add value? I'm going to speak. And my wife might not really do it. But for me, I'm like, she is awesome. Like, why is she not going to talk more and get in front of people? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but then it hit me like, okay, her personality is not my personality. That's my personality. Like, to
Mhm.
go out and talk like that. It's not hers. So then it just made me realize that, you know what, I can't really just push her into this because it's gonna make her feel uncomfortable. And
Right.
that's just gonna be bad results. But then I started seeing later on, she started speaking more. And she just had an event where she went go speak in front of a group of entrepreneurs and things like that. So me, I'm like, okay, God, I see it. Like, if I just let you work on her heart and, you know, let you reveal her greatness that she have, I believe she'll receive it more than when I'm saying, you need to go out and go talk, girl. Like, they need to hear your voice. So, of course, at one time in my life, I thought that, like, man, she tripping, man. She need to get out there more. You know what I mean? But at
Right.
the end of the day, I started seeing that now she's starting to speak more, and because I see it in her, you know, I believe
Yeah.
she better than me, but you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
Well, I love what you said where you gave it to the Lord and you let
yeah, for
him
sure.
work on it.
Oh yeah, I tried already. That don't work. I'm like,
It don't. Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that because I tried too.
yeah, that don't work.
You might as well give it to the Lord. So shit.
Yeah, I end up frustrated, and the next thing you know, we arguing about something that ain't even a big deal, you know.
Not in a big deal.
And I will say that about marriage. A lot of times, you know, that sometimes we're having these discussions and arguments and debates, and some of that stuff really don't be a big deal. Like, you know what? That's the way
When you
she
think
do
about
it.
it.
Yeah, just let her do it her way, or you know, vice versa. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just let him do it his way. Like, you know, if he hit his head, you know, I'm here to, you know, put a bandage on it and, you know, help him out. You know.
Absolutely. It took me so long to get to that point because I just
Yeah.
felt like my way was the right way. Why won't he do it the way I and
Right.
believe me, I believe my way is still the best way, but
Right.
it's
You
not
have learned.
because I'm looking for the most economical and the most efficient way to do everything because that's the way my brain works. But if he don't see it, it's not fruitful. You know, like you said, I'm gonna
That
just be frustrated,
you're gonna be
and
frustrated.
it's
Let me
more than
share
one
this about
way.
my wife. It was one thing that happened, like in the beginning of our marriage, you know, like she's more of the cook of the house. But you know, sometimes I like to get in the kitchen and, you know, kind of do my thing. You know, I be feel like I could cook. I didn't look at some YouTube videos or TikTok videos. Like, let me get in the kitchen. So I went to the store and I bought the ingredients. So my ingredients was, you know, the onion, bell pepper, onion, you know, all that, but it was already chopped up. Now my wife buy it and she chopped the onions and bell peppers herself. And she made a big deal about me buying these onions and bell peppers that was
Because they
already
more
chopped
crispy
up.
that way.
And I'm like, and for me, I'm like, this is saving time. I don't got time to be chopping up the bell peppers, the onions. I'm just gonna get it already chopped up so I get straight to cooking. And then she came to me and was like, you know, maybe like a couple of months later, like, you know, the Lord really dealt with me on that, like me making a big deal about you buying the onions and bell peppers already chopped up. Like, and but it just showed both of us that look, we just gonna do things different. You know what I mean? The same result gonna be we got a cooked meal.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, like let's
And
just
she
go
didn't have
eat.
to do it.
Yeah, and she ain't had to do it this time, you know, but and vice
Thank
versa.
God.
It'd be things that I feel like, you know, she should do it like my way. Like I said, go and speak things in business. And it's just like she don't operate like that. You know, just let her operate how she operate.
Absolutely.
I think a good thing, like you said, is always that balance.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much in everything. Sometimes we don't even know that it is balance in what we're doing.
Right.
But it does play a big factor. My husband and I are totally opposites too. So the balance has been a big thing. And we actually had a conversation the other day. He was like, man, you know, we really balance each other out.
Right.
Now we can have those conversations. Back in the day,
That's
it
it.
wasn't no
Passion.
like you said, I don't like how you do it. You don't like how I do it. I'm right. You're right. So what are we going to do with this kind of thing? But
Right.
as you grow and mature and learn that, you can have those conversations and understand, like you said, understand it and give it to God. Because
Right.
sometimes we can't do nothing else with it.
That person
can't
been
do
doing it like that their whole life. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so why would they just change all of it a drop of a dime and we only been married for 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
And they've been doing this for 30 years. You know what I, you know, so it's just things like that that I'm starting to look at, or they was taught like this by their parents. Their
Right.
parents taught them to, I'm just going to use it, chop up the onion and bell pepper every time that you cook. So who am I to come against their parents and say that their parents was wrong? Nah, grandma did it like this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just
Okay.
every area in our life that we really have to look at, our upbringings too, because we're both taught by different parents. And, it's a lot with marriage, I'm telling you. But once you start getting an understanding of it, you can navigate better through it.
Yeah. And it's so
Bingo, that's it
enjoyable.
right there.
Yes.
But this puts me in mind. I work in IT, and I do a lot of and the finances too for companies and stuff. I'm an accountant by trade, and I do
Okay.
data analyst and stuff. And I was talking to somebody about Excel the other day, teaching them how to do some things on there. And I said, you know what? And I'm overestimated this. I said it's 100 ways to do the same thing in Excel.
Yeah. 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 I'm
I may
telling
do
you.
it this way, you may do it that way.
It is.
It really is. I'm telling you,
Right.
it's not 100 ways, but I'll tell you, at least 10 or
Yeah,
so.
it's a lot of
It's a lot.
ways.
You can use the
What they say
shortcut
is
keys. You can do it with your mouse. You can hit different.
come on.
But you still
Hey, it's
gonna get to the same end
more than
result.
one way to skin a cat. That's what they're saying was, right? More than
Yeah.
one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, absolutely. So love that. So let me ask you this then. So how do you protect your marriage while running businesses and serving others? Because you mentioned that you do speaking and you have a business on the side, and then y'all got kids and family and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So how do you really protect your marriage while running your businesses and other things?
And I would say this, one, and we hear it a lot, it might even get cliche-ish, but don't stop dating. Like just that time where it's just you and your wife. And in the beginning, like I was terrible at that. Like I'm starting to get it now, like where I'm a plan the date night, like and like it usually be my wife, like planning it out and just figuring everything out. But now I'm in a season where okay, I'm gonna get the hotel room, I'm gonna rent the car, I'm gonna do everything. All you gotta do is come, and things like that. So because you still need to have that one-on-one time, with your spouse, where it's no kids. Of course, the way that we love our kids, they always gonna be involved. Cause like even if we go out of town and we allow like our youngest son who is 8 go stay with his grandmother because we have 2 older kids and one's in college. So she's out in college. Then we have an older one that's 24. He's raising his own family now. So it's like okay, but we still gotta have that time where it's just us. We ain't talking about the kids. In some kind of way, they still come up in the conversation. But I would always say though, spending that one-on-one time, like whatever it is, even if it's just, hey, honey, let's just go take a ride in the city. Get in the car and just go ride around with nowhere to go and just spend some time one-on-one and allowing each other to speak about like what's on their mind, like what they got going on. Tell me about your business, what's your goals and what, stuff like that. And, it just, I would say that one-on-one time though, that's the biggest thing for me. And I did a bad job at that in the beginning, but by the grace of God, I finally my eyes then opened up a little bit wider and we're doing it. And we had a great time a couple of weeks ago. We went on a little date night and it was awesome. So, hey, I'm planning another one for next week. Or, at least try to do it once a month. You just got to figure out something that worked for y'all too. That'll help out tremendously.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I would say early on in our marriage, we had met a couple and they talked about having date nights because they were business owners and they traveled around quite a bit and stuff. And so, and serving in ministry and stuff like that. And they mentioned date night. And so we started trying to incorporate it. Now, when the kids were younger, it was harder to get it in. It was more like what you would say, maybe once a month, we would try to get it in and, maybe sometime I guess it'd be maybe once a quarter. But, but I will say this. I will say this. That during some of the busy seasons, and I want our audience to hear this, sometimes you got to schedule some of that intimate time.
Yes. Yes.
You got to schedule it. I know it don't sound romantic to put it on the calendar or to have a certain day of the week that you pay attention to each other in that regard.
Right.
But
Come on.
that is
Mhm.
so important. That is so
Uh,
important.
yeah, it's
Very
needed.
important.
Yep. All right, Pata, you want to talk about keeping
All
God at
right.
the center?
Yes, we have already spoken so much about keeping God in the center of ourselves and our relationship. And going back something that you said in your questionnaire again, you said God has the final say in every area of your lives.
Yeah.
How does that influence the way you communicate and make decisions together?
Okay. So when it all come down, like I'm always gonna say this: two different people, coming
Mhm.
together to be one. So it's gonna
Mhm.
be times where y'all not agreeing on certain things. And sometimes
Mhm.
when you're not agreeing on certain things, that stuff blow up to stuff that you've been holding in and all kind
Mhm.
of stuff. So it's like the decision making is all messed up and all that. So I would always say that a married couple, my opinion, you need to have godly counsel, like
Mhm.
someone that could be that mediator, but just not anybody, not just, you know what I mean, like it has to be someone
Exactly.
that's standing
That's
on the
for
word
you
of, yeah, that's
in the
standing on
word
the
of
word
God.
of God, that's not
Mhm.
going to show favoritism to
Right.
the husband or the wife. It's going to be someone that says, hey David, like this is how God sees this. It's right here in the word. Like,
Right.
if that means that don't let no corrupt communication come out of your mouth, like you can't talk negative, you can't, you know what I mean. and
Yes. Yes.
and that would
Yes.
help us out like so much, even in our marriage. Like I say, the difficult times, it was like the godly counsel that we had that brought us back to the word of God. When we didn't want to go by the word of God, we want to do our own thing because this is the way that I
Yes.
do it. And then, it brought us back to the word of God, and so it helps our decision making, because now when those situations come up, we remember that,
Mhm.
okay, this is how God deals with this right here. So I can't do it the way that I
Exactly.
normally would do it. And it helped us out tremendously.
Oh, I love that. Well, tell me this. What spiritual habits have strengthened your marriage? Or you have any spiritual habits that you guys do together that has really strengthened your marriage?
Well, I would always say prayer, but like
Okay.
one thing that my wife, I know she's big on this, like anointing the home. Like,
Mhm.
she'll get that oil and she will go around the house and anoint the TV. Like I wake up and see crosses on the TV screen, on the doorknobs, and it's just like just going through the house anointing it and praying over the home, where
Okay.
when things try to creep in, those spirits try to creep in through however, they try to come in
Mhm.
through the TV to our kids, and got our kids
Mhm.
looking at something they don't need to be looking at, or something, or anoint our ears, like the things that we hear. It's just bringing God into the situation, like understanding that like this house is not going to be able to be ran unless God is here. Where, and that's, to
Exactly.
me, that's like one of the key things that I know that my wife does all the time. And then, like
Okay.
we said, we're in the ministry together, so it's like it's cool to be able to go to Bible study on a Wednesday night and then come
Mhm.
home and talk about what we just ate, spiritually,
Mhm.
from the word
Mhm.
of God.
Mhm.
So it's just those type of conversations that we have, after Sunday service, that we do it like, it's like every Sunday service, every Bible study. Like I know we're gonna talk about what we heard, and and things like that. And it just helps us out. To me, it's like iron sharpening iron.
Exactly. And keeping those lines of communication absolutely open on
Yes.
all fronts. So
Yes.
let's transition a little bit. We often talk about when our marriage is tested.
Right.
So Precious was diagnosed with leukemia. Can you take us back to that moment, please? Just to give our audience, like how you
Yeah.
felt, how you guys managed to get through that.
Man, that was if I had to describe it in a way, like that was one of the most surprising, devastating like things that I ever faced in my whole life. And I didn't face some stuff, we went back to like my life, but because it was like my wife, she was saying like she had a toothache and things like that. Then
Mhm.
one day she was saying her
Mhm.
chest was hurting, and then it
Mhm.
was like Resurrection Sunday, Easter Sunday. One day we went to church, we celebrated, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Good Sunday. And then
Mhm.
that by the time that night came, she was like, "Man, I'm gonna go to the hospital, get my chest. It just it just ain't feeling right." So when she
Mhm.
went, then I get the phone call because my nickname is Punch. So she like,
Okay.
"Punch, they sending me to MD Anderson. They rushing me there. They saying something about leukemia, something, and I'm
Right.
like, what? Like, we got our daughter. She was still maybe a senior or in the 11th grade. Our
Mhm.
little boy, he's first grade, kindergarten, and now my wife that does so much at the home, she's being
Mhm.
rushed to the hospital. And like, when you hear these words, leukemia and cancer, it's like that's a perfect time for the enemy to play the worst case scenario in your mind. So that's where the
Absolutely.
battlefield of the mind came. So it was like, so I'm going through all this, like thinking of, okay, how I'm gonna do this. What we gonna do? Okay, I gotta go to Houston tomorrow because I gotta be there with my wife. And then it was
Mhm.
like, and then in my mind, I'm thinking about like how sometimes how my wife could be going through it. Like, so I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
know how she about to be whenever I call her. Like, is she gonna be stressing? Is she gonna be,
Mhm.
agitated?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
man, but when I called her and like the peace that she had in her voice,
Mhm.
I was like,
Mhm.
whoa, that helped me out so much because I'm
Wow.
thinking that I'm gonna have to be the strong person for everybody in this situation. Whenever
Right.
my wife was the strongest out of all of us, because I'm around
Wow.
here running, and it looked like nothing was bothering her. And that was just,
Mhm.
so amazing because some things would bother my wife that would make me be
Mhm.
like, why are you even worried about that? And like
Right.
this situation, I'm like, what is going on? And she just was she went through it like gracefully. Never
Mhm.
never complained. I ain't hear her complain or nothing, about this situation. And so to hear that news, I ain't gonna lie, it was like I
Mhm.
would say a stomach punch though, because it knocked the wind out of me. Cause I didn't know
Mhm.
if I was about to lose my wife or not. I trust God, like, to the fullest. Like I'm a man of faith, but it's
Right.
still just that this could go either way.
Like, not right now, Lord, not right now.
Yeah, like nah, we can't because I don't like I'm thinking like, man, what I'm gonna do with the kid? Like, how I'm explaining this to the kids? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
yo, mama not here no more. Like, because I'm going worst case scenario, and but then, like I said, she went through it, and to this day, right now, she's
Mhm.
it's gone, leukemia gone, and
Oh, okay.
God is a healer. It
Yes.
just it was
Yes.
like that
Yes.
testimony where nobody can't tell me nothing about God in this area of Him being a healer because I seen Him heal my wife. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I totally get that, and thanks so much for sharing. Our listeners, there's so many people that's going through what you guys went through, and I can
yeah,
relate. And again, that again is that balance.
yeah,
I was diagnosed with cancer, and my husband was the steady.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wasn't the steady, he was the
Right,
steady. So again, that's that balance
right.
that works out, and you don't even know you're doing it. It just it's just there. Um, what are some of the things that helped you to remain connected in that season?
But for one, like I would say, me just being by my wife's side. Like, cause she was at MD Anderson, and MD Anderson is about like an hour and 20 minutes away from our
Mhm,
home. So,
mhm,
like, if my wife needed a pillow, if she was like the pillows, they don't feel comfortable. I'm
mhm,
going to get her a soft pillow and bringing it up there, after work. It's
mhm,
just, and then like I know how much my wife love our kids, so it's like for her to know that they was taken care of, they didn't have to call mama like, mama, daddy ain't feeding us over here, we around here hungry, like, what I'm saying. So it was like, I was getting them to school,
mhm,
and I thank God for, I have like a best friend, uh Narkifia, man. Like she would come, and Kiffy would come pick up my daughter for
mhm,
school to bring her to school. So because I was working nights also,
Mhm.
So some days I'm going to work at 5 in the evening and I'm getting off at 5 in the morning. So I would have to come home at 5 in the morning, take a little power nap, and then get back
Mhm.
up at about 6:30 or
Mhm.
7 to
Mhm.
start getting our youngest ready for school.
Ready for
Get,
school.
getting the oldest, getting her, to school or whatnot. But then also, it takes a village. Like my mom,
Mhm.
she can't move in with us because the
Mhm.
times when I had to work nights, I needed someone at home with, our daughter and our youngest son. So my mom
Right.
would come and she would stay. So then once she did that, she would kind of get my son ready for school so I could sleep in a little bit longer. So really all I
Mhm.
would have to do is just wake up and then bring him to school. Um, Once they get to school, come back home, take a good power nap until it's time to go pick them up from school, and wake back up and pick them up. And it was just me just running and going. And so I
Mhm.
thank God for the people that God already had set up to help us. Our pastor,
Mhm.
they would, you know what I mean? They'll just sow into
Right.
us. The
Yes.
church would just pick up a collection and it just be gas money for me. They'll just be like, hey, let's look for Minister David, let's pick up a collection. And you know what I mean?
Mhm.
He need gas
Right.
money to go check on his wife. And and I'm not asking for nothing because I'm
Right.
like, I'm just gonna do it. But God putting it on other people's heart. So I wish, that, and it, because I can't just say it was just me. It was just all the people
Mhm.
that was around, that God had around. But by me being by her side, by me just making sure that she ain't had to really worry about other things, I believe that kept us connected, because she didn't never see that in me before. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Like, so that could have been a question deep down in her mind, like, can my husband lead? Because
Mhm.
she know me from back in the day too. Whenever I wasn't
Mhm.
right, I wasn't with God. Like, so she know the old me too. Now she know the
Right.
new me, but at the same time, she know that old me. So
You know
sometimes
the
that,
whole thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it could be like, when I was immature, like, is he mature enough to run a household without me being
Right.
there? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So
Right.
it's like once I was able to prove those things, and the family, we kept living, we kept going. She had
Mhm.
peace. She didn't really have to worry
Mhm.
about too many things. I believe that kept us connected.
Oh, thanks for that.
Yes.
Can you share with our audience, what did that experience teach you about marriage?
Man, like, say them vows, like, we said through sickness or health. Like, so you say that it's not just a cute little thing that you say at a marriage. Like, these are vows before the Lord. And the Bible, it says it's better not to make a vow. So don't even do it if you ain't real about it. So, like, for
Mhm.
me, that's how serious I am about my marriage. Man, I made them vows towards the Lord. So it's like I
Mm-hmm.
can't back out now, like, because she have a sickness. Because I didn't heard men leave women, like, because they got sicknesses and they couldn't be themselves no more, or vice versa,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
they left. And I'm like, that's crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, that what it taught me, that, hey, those vows are real. But if you honor those vows, the reward that God is going to pour up on you, you know what I mean? Like,
That part.
that's
Mm-hmm.
like, because you honored them. You honored
Yes.
what you said towards him. So, I got great expectation for me and my wife marriage. Through the hard times, I'm like, man, some stuff we, like I said, we debate about something and be like, man, this ain't nothing compared to what we went through with the leukemia situation. So I ain't even worried about this right here. We gonna get through this,
Mm-hmm.
because if we got through that, God got us through that. Like, man, he'll get us through anything. So, and like I said, that was just, that's what it really taught me about those vows that you make. Like, I let people know, like, it's serious. Don't
It's
get into
serious.
marriage if you're not serious about these vows that you about to say before the Lord.
Yep.
Well, you
Yep.
just kind of alluded to my last question.
Come
I
on.
was going to ask, like, looking back now, how has that trial strengthened your marriage? You kind of gave us a little bit just now
Yeah.
on just getting on that other side to where you guys are now. And, like, if you got over that, anything is, you
Yeah.
can do anything now.
And that's
So,
that's just what it is. Like, as we go through faith, through glory, like, as you go through things in life, like, it just strengthens you. Like, like we could get through this. We got through that back in 2022. So whatever come against us in 2026, like I'm gonna remember my victories. It's just like David before he fought Goliath. He remembered his past victories. He said, when a bear came, when a lion came, God gave me victory. So this uncircumcised Philistine, man, I ain't worried about you. And it's just simply because he remembered his past victories against the lions and the bears. And so that's what I'm on with my marriage. Like I remember the past victories whenever we was coming up with decisions like saying, you know what, I don't know if we should even be together. Like, when those kind of conversations come up, and then God would send someone to get our focus back on track. And so that's just what I stand on. Like if God got us through that situation, then he gonna get us through it this one too. Like, so the Goliaths that come in our life will be okay. The Goliaths that come against our marriage will be okay if we remember the victories against the bears and the lions. Them Goliaths ain't nothing.
All right. Remember the victories.
Yeah, remember the past victories. I swear it'll get you through whatever you're going through.
Yep. That brings up a thought because I work in ministry at my church with youth and children and stuff like that. And so once the kids get older and they know I've been married a long time, and they'll be like, Miss Lucia, what's some tips you can tell me or something like that? And this is one thing that I remember I would share with them. I'd say, I want you to think of, I say, the vow says in sickness and health and in good times and bad times. I said, I want you to take a minute. I want you to think of what you consider to be a bad time. And I give them some time to think about it. And then I say, you got it? And they say, yeah, I got it. I say, now do that times 10.
Come on.
I said, because you don't know really what, you mentioned earlier on in our conversation of, you mean to tell me we can't just ride off into the sunset? That's what I wanted. I wanted to ride off into the sunset, like the Disney movie said. I felt cheated.
On a white horse. On a white horse.
On a white horse.
I felt cheated. This is not like it's supposed to be.
Right. With $10 billion. Like I ain't gotta worry about no money. I ain't got to budget nothing. I ain't gotta do none of that. This marriage about to be just.
We gonna be good. We love each other. That's gonna take us through everything. Little did I know.
Yeah. That's right.
But one of the reasons Pata and I got to discussing the longevity of our marriage and everything, and decided to do this podcast was we want to help couples have a realistic perspective on what marriage is. And like you say, those tough times that you have, they strengthen you to be able, those struggles. There's really no growth or no transformation without some type of pain or struggle.
Right.
If you go to the gym and you start lifting weights, what's the first thing gonna happen? You're gonna be sore.
The muscles gonna hurt.
Yep. I'm telling you.
You break them down and build them back up.
Right.
Exactly. So it's the same thing with marriage. If you have this perspective, because I didn't grow up with a dad in the home. My parents got divorced when between second and third grade. So I'd seen my aunties and stuff, but I didn't have, my dad in the home after that point for the day to day. So I didn't know what to expect. My husband, his parents were married, 50 years before, Mrs. Reddick passed, and then Mr. Reddick is passed now too. So we both had that, like you talk about those opposites and those balances or whatever, because he kind of knew what to expect. He'd seen his parents go through good times and bad times, and maybe some intense conversations, arguments, and that you could get to the other side. And I didn't have that frame of reference. I didn't know we were gonna get to the other side. I'm so thankful that we did, and it's just part of it, because when we have those difficult times, they are meant to strengthen us and sharpen us as we go through and go on to some other things. So
yes, absolutely. I believe that.
I love that. Well, we'll transition a little bit here to, what would you say? I want you to give some encouragement for our couples. What would you say to the couple that's walking through a difficult season right now?
I would always tell them first, like, to ask themselves, why did they get married? Like, it's always say, like, remember your why. Like,
Mhm.
focus on all those beautiful things, and I'm just talking from the man perspective, that you saw in your wife to make you say, like, I'm gonna give her my last name. Let's not focus on all the things that you could see wrong in her right now, and vice versa, as I'm saying,
Mhm.
because sometimes I believe our perspective and our vision, it gets blurry at times whenever you're going through the stressful times in life and stuff like that, and you forget your why, and then you start focusing on all the things that this person does wrong, and you stop seeing the things that this person does right. Because
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure, like, if you married this person, it was some great qualities, it was some things that you saw. And then once you get married, of course, now you're, with this person more. So you're going to see some things that's just not right about that person, because you with them 20, I ain't gonna say 24/7, but y'all
A
living
lot,
together.
Yeah.
You
a
with
lot.
them a lot. So you might this person snore. You didn't know that person snored like that in the beginning. Y'all wasn't living together. So now this person snore, and now it's like, oh, I ain't gonna be able to marry because they snoring. Nah, let's
Or look, after you've been together a long time, you didn't used to snore, but you snore now. So I'm just
right,
saying that that happens too.
right, that too. So
So we
look, let's
change.
hey, look, let's come up with a solution. All right, let's go to a sleep doctor. You might need a CPAP machine or something where you can sleep with that CPAP. I said that because I went go get a CPAP. Like, once my wife started telling me, "Boy, you snore," and all this, I'm like, "Well, look, what we gonna do to fix it?" Because I probably been snoring my whole life. I can't hear myself because I'm asleep.
Right.
So so look, next thing I know, the doctor was like, "Hey, you sleep with this CPAP machine. Hey, you ain't gonna snore." And then I did that, and look, man, hey, my wife ain't mad at me unless I take that machine off sometimes in the middle of the sleep, and I be sleeping. I take it off, but hey, we gonna be all right. But that's the type of things though that we gotta do though. We have to remember, like, why did I marry this person?
Mhm.
And focus on that. Now, if this person is doing certain things that's not healthy for you, and you just it's not sitting right in your spirit, have that conversation with that person. And let me take it to another level. If you're saying that, like, I can't talk to them because every time I talk to them, all they want to do is fuss and argue and all that type of stuff, that's whenever you bring in that mediator, that godly counsel, that pastor, or that hey, Miss Reddick, or Miss Hall, like, someone that could be in the middle, that's not gonna be, show favoritism, and they're going to tell you what thus says the Lord about marriage, and how do you treat people and things like that. Because y'all could get through this, because, like I always say, y'all got married for a reason. You just didn't get married just to get married. You saw something,
Mhm.
and don't let that dream of what you saw die because everything's not going the way that you thought that it should go.
Mhm.
And I believe that will get you, to that next level. Just one of the ways
Yeah.
that it will get you to the next level, if you remember your why. Stop looking at all the things that your spouse do wrong, and start looking at the things that they do right. Because we know, as God described the word love, love doesn't count record of wrongdoings. We just, hold grudges and all this type of stuff. You have to forgive, and that's what stretches you in marriage. And I believe that marriage gets you to the person who God wants you to be. Because
Mhm.
if you're not married, you never have to change. You can stay the same person your whole life in a way,
Yeah.
because you don't have someone that you got to forgive. So you don't even know that
Mhm.
you got a problem with holding grudges, because everybody you fool with, you just cut them off as soon as they do you dirty. You
Yep.
can't do that with your wife or your husband. You just can't cut them off. So
Right.
it just helps you. It builds you up as a person. I'm telling you.
Mhm. Now look, I'm the queen of cutoff. I don't deal with no I don't
Hey, man,
like
who you
drama,
telling?
and
Hey,
but
I'm the
yeah,
king.
But cutting off your husband, it's highly frowned upon. It is.
Yeah, you just can't do that because I'm the king of cutting off. Like I ain't worried about you. You don't want to fool with me or talk to me. Hey, that's cool. Go the other way. I'm gonna go this way, and if we meet up again, we do. If we don't, we be okay.
It's all cool.
Y'all, we gotta talk. Come on, I'm the opposite of y'all. So come on, man.
Gotta talk it out. It's just some people, hey, Miss Hall, some people, they don't be wanting to talk. And I be like, you know what? I ain't got to put up with this. Like, I'm not married to you. You know what?
Right.
I'm just going to go the other way then, man. If that's how you want to be, go ahead. Do you. I'm going to do me. And that's that.
But in the marriage relationship, we can't do it. So we have to try to talk. We have to try to talk it out. And like you said, the forgiveness part. But, you said something that, when you were talking about when I was asking you about a difficult time, we think about, okay, we might not say difficult. We'll say, oh, this is the worst thing that could ever happen to us, right? This is this is bad. This is bad. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe, I think about finances. Maybe the you've been laid off or in a car accident or something, you finna lose your house or something like that. Whatever it is, it could be a number of things, right? Like you said, the health issue or anything. But how many times have something that we thought in the moment was bad, and when you look back on it, and you say, "Man, that was the best thing could have ever happened to me."
Man, whoo, Lord, that's probably about 90% of the time it be like that. Like,
so when we eat it, we can't really say whether it's bad or good. It is what it is. It's difficult. It's a tough season.
It's stretching you, because who want to learn something new? Like, at sometimes like, nah, I already know how to do this, and then you realize that, like, for one thing, like, you might be calling it the most difficult time of your life. But then God see it a totally different way. God could be like, you ain't never prayed this much in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't never talked to me like this. Like, now you waking up in the morning talking to me, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so this is building your relationship with me, this difficult situation. And I believe, like, for me, like, it got me closer to God, because it's like, okay, one thing, like with my wife, I don't believe in, divorce. Like, it got to be some real serious stuff going on. And I believe the respect that me and my wife have for each other, we'll never do that. You know what I mean? Where it'd be like, okay, look, we're going to have to go in and split. So those difficult times that we might have talked about it, like, it don't even add up for lines for divorce, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So it's like, so I would talk to God about these situations and this stuff, because I didn't want to lose my marriage. When my wife got diagnosed with leukemia, and I didn't know if she was gonna live or die or whatever. I don't know nothing about leukemia. I just know she going to MD Anderson. She about to do a stem cell transplant. I don't know how this stuff go. Like, I'm talking to God more, because God, you're the healer. You are Jehovah Rapha. I mean, that's what it says in your word. Like, I got to lean on you, and I never leaned on God like that before, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I felt like going through those difficult times was those times that I really had to lean on God, and really had to talk to God, and really had to depend on his strength. Because, you know what I mean? Like, some of that stuff I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go through some of that stuff.
We don't want to go through difficult stuff.
Yeah.
We want the easy stuff.
Nah, I want it easy. Like, I only can sleep 2 hours today, because I gotta, bring kids to school, and then I gotta go drive to Houston to go, check on my wife and all that. That stuff was difficult, because I ain't never went through nothing like that before. And I ain't really have no one to talk to tell me, how they went through it. Most people was like, well, Dave, you gotta pray. And I'm like, man, I know that.
Tell me something else.
Yeah, like, I know that part. Like, that part is being done. Like, what else to do? Like, what can I do in this natural? You know what I mean? Like, how do
Mhm.
you, and nobody can give you the blueprint for that,
Yeah.
because this was my journey. This was my wife's journey. This was our
Mhm.
journey. And even in marriage, like, this is our journey. The things that work for us might not work for you, Miss Reddick. Like how we
Mhm.
Right.
handle things. You know, the things that, the way that y'all do it, Miss Hall, probably ain't gonna work for me and my wife. We totally different than, you and your husband, and things like that. Now
Exactly.
we could take advice, and then,
Hmm.
in certain things you like, okay, yeah, that do work. Let me try that. But in
Mhm.
some stuff, nah, we can't try that. Like, they ain't gonna work. Her personality, my personality, they
Right.
ain't gonna work.
Mhm.
So
Right.
we learning. We learning. I love it though.
And I think that to your point, uh, you try some things and that may
Right,
not work. Try some
right.
other things.
That's
Then try
it.
something
We
else.
gonna figure it out.
Just keep trying.
And
We can
that's the
do
key.
it.
That's the key. Trying
We
to
gonna
figure it
figure it
out
out.
together.
We got a
Figure it
whole
out
life
together.
together.
Yeah.
So
No,
like,
but hey, we don't stop figuring out stuff on these other things. I worked at a job I couldn't stand for 33 years.
come on,
And you mean to
come
tell
on.
me I can't I can't stay in this situation? But I'm telling you, the first 7 years I kept trying to get out of it though. I was like, oh no, this ain't working the
Yeah,
way I thought it's supposed to. I'm trying to get out of it, but I'm so thankful to the Lord
yeah.
that I
Come
was
on.
able, and He sent some amazing people to talk me off the
Hmm.
ledge and to give me some
Hmm.
advice,
Hmm.
some things to try, some perspective. But like Pat alluded to, and you alluded to earlier, talking to people, some godly counsel, some people who
Yeah.
are for you and your marriage and your husband, wife,
Hmm.
whatever, but they are for you. Uh,
Yes.
but I wanted to bring up something you said too just a few minutes ago on the forgiveness and the focusing, just focusing on what you don't like about the person.
Right.
So I was that person.
Right.
I just said, you know what? I am perfect. I am God's gift to Donnie. That's my husband's name.
Right. Come
And,
on.
I'm trying to, and I do really try to do things the right way.
Right.
But the Lord, the Holy Spirit put it on my heart one time when I was talking about, the stuff that I didn't like about my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And He said in a small voice, you don't do everything right either.
It is.
It's like, what? What you say? What?
Yeah.
What? And it come to me, you make that man late every time y'all go somewhere.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah.
Just for an example,
Nah, for
you
real.
make him late every time y'all go somewhere, but you think you perfect. He
Right.
got some stuff about you. Got some stuff about you that he don't like,
Right.
and
We
he ain't
all
saying,
do.
and he ain't saying nothing about it. Or you ain't paying attention. If he say something about it, you just
Right.
going on and do your own
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
Yeah.
don't care what you say. I'm gonna do what I want to do anyway. I'm hard headed.
That's just us
But
as people, though. You know what I mean? But we could really get messed up in life because we'll focus on the wrong thing. Like, and whatever you like your focus, like, you're magnifying it. That's what magnifying is. Like, I'm focused on this. Like, so of course it's gonna look big, because it's the only thing you meditating on is this situation. Like, he, and I'm just gonna say, the stuff that we do wrong, our spouse do wrong, but we
yeah,
have to focus on, like, what they do right.
yeah.
Because
Exactly.
because a lot of those times the things they do right is way more important than what they do wrong.
Way more important.
you,
Way more.
where, like, that type of stuff, I can live with that. I ain't really tripping on that. But if, like, the stuff they do right, if they stop doing that, like, loving me, if they stop, they're faithful to me, like, they can't stop this. Like, they're providers, they go out and, work, and they go out and, or cook me lunch and stuff like that. Like, those type of things, if they stop doing that,
Yeah.
like, that's bigger than not putting the toilet seat down. I'm just saying, it's just,
I mean, it absolutely
Yeah.
it is.
Because
It
my
is.
thing, David, was socks.
okay.
I was like, man, because my husband, he's messy. I'm not saying anything he don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
We talk
Right.
about it.
Right.
He messy.
Right.
He's trying.
Me too.
And I just be like, I remember telling the beautician one day, I was at the beauty shop, and she was asking. This was early on, like I say, during that 7 years.
Yeah.
And I told her, I say, I think I want a divorce. And she started asking me some questions about, oh, well, is he a cheater? And I said, no, he don't do nothing but go to work. He don't do nothing like that. And she said, well, oh, well, what did she ask me? Oh, is he does he do over drink or do
Yeah.
drugs or anything like that? I say, no, he's a social drinker or whatever.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, does he put his hands on you? Is he an abuser? No, he don't do nothing like that. But he won't help me keep the house clean. And she say, wait a minute. But I started defending him because she was asking me all these ways. No, he's a great dad. He's loving.
Yeah.
He's da-da-da-da. I started defending him. And then she was like, well, wait a minute. You finna give up all those qualities you just mentioned because he's messy? I was like, dang it.
Yeah. That's what I just got to talk to someone for them to just bring it to perspective. Like, you know what?
Yep.
Same thing with me. I was like, you know what? I am tripping. Like, man, let me get it back together. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And that's why you had to be careful who you talk to, because you could talk to the wrong person. Because I had a girlfriend too that I used to talk to about stuff, and she's like, "Girl, you don't have to put up with that. You want me to call the U-Haul people?
Right.
We can get you out of this." And so you can talk to the wrong people. Don't
That's
talk.
I always say, it got to be somebody godly counsel that you respect in the spirit. Like, that this person not just gonna tell you anything because they fear the Lord and they know that blood gonna be on their hands if they give you some advice that's not godly. Like, go ahead and leave your husband. Okay, that blood on your hands because you told that person to leave, and God ain't say that. Like, you made that up yourself. Where and that's my big thing. So because me and my wife, we don't talk to everybody, for sure we talk to our pastor, like that's our go-to. And we do have, I would say, like a married couple that's that we would talk to. Like I said, the people that we talk to is godly counsel that they fear the Lord. Like, they're not gonna say nothing wrong to us because they know if they just give out some bad advice out there and get into God's plan and try to mess it up, that's coming back on them. They don't want no parts of that.
They don't want that. They don't want that smoke from God.
Yeah, they don't want that smoke. That's a fact.
So if you're out there listening, he's telling you the blueprint. When life feels overwhelming, get you some godly counsel, someone who has some evidence in their life. That they are believers, that they trust in God, and that they're for you and they're for your marriage.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to transition to Pata now. She's going to tell us about her wellness connection piece.
Okay. Well, today's conversation reminds us that marriage is not only tested in the easy seasons. Sometimes it is tested in the hospital room, in the waiting room, in the uncertainty, and in the moments when fear tries to speak louder than faith. Now, we all battle with the fear and the faith because, faith can't be here if we're all so fearful. So when a spouse is walking through a serious health challenge, the whole marriage feels it. Stress, worry, caregiving, exhaustion, emotional pressure that can affect the body, the mind, and the spirit. But here's what I want couples to remember. Supporting your spouse does not mean neglecting yourself. You cannot pour from an empty place very long. Right. So in difficult seasons, wellness may look simple. It may look like taking a breath before you respond, drinking water, getting rest when you can, praying together, asking for help, taking a short walk, speaking words of encouragement when fear is trying to take over. Faith matters, emotional health matters, and physical wellness matters.
Yes.
Oh, I love that, Pata. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So as we conclude our time today, Dr. David, what's the biggest takeaway that you hope our listeners remember from our conversation?
I mean, at the end of the day, I just want them to understand that nothing's too hard for God. In your relationship, as you go through your relationships, your ups, your downs, your lessons, the times that you feel like your spouse not listening to you, the times that the finances aren't flowing like you would like them to flow. You're going through sickness, you're going through depression, you're going through grief, as you lose family members pass away, and all these type of different emotions that you go through. You got to trust that nothing's too hard for God. That and it's not just cliche when I say give it to God. It's a really like a lifestyle that you have to, for me, it made me pray more. So, and that's a good thing, that you start talking to God more when when you wake up in the morning, or if you one of those people that God wake up at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and you wondering why am I up? It's probably because God want to talk to you. Just spend that time talking to God, trusting God, and you'll watch that He could do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you could ask or think. I'm really one of those people that's living that. Like, I'm not just talking from a place of what my mama told me or my grandmother told me. I'm talking from a place of really living this thing out with God. And I seen that He never failed me. He always came through, even if it was in a way that I didn't think it should have went this way and it went another way, but it always worked out for my favor. So I would say just trust God.
Okay. I love that. Thank you. Well, this week, ask your spouse, what's one way I can better support you during this season of life? We like to leave everybody with a heart to heart challenge. And that is, what's one way I can better support you during this season of life? And then simply listen. All right. So thank you for joining us for another episode of the Stronger, Deeper Marriage Show. Thank you, Dr. David, for your yes. Remember, stronger marriages don't just happen, they're built through intentional conversations, intentional choices, and intentional love. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.